The last, I want to say 2 minutes, have some very serious and sensitive content. This relates to sexual assault. If you guys are not comfortable with this, please either click off this video now or just don't watch the last few minutes of it.
What are you doing? Let me go!
You brazenly waltzed right into a vampire castle, all by yourself. You will regret being so careless.
Stop! When I look at my wrists restrained by Harold, I see blood running where his nails dig into my skin. He's so strong. There's no way I can possibly explain the situation with my village now. What in the world should I do? Harold's other hand grasps my chin.
On closer inspection, you have somewhat pleasant features. Maybe I'll let you live after I take your blood and keep you as my personal maid.
Wow, what a fantastic idea. I would love that.
What do you mean?
I walked around the castle a little bit before I came into the garden here, and I noticed there was a lot of dust built up in the corners of the hallways. This is such a large castle. It'll quickly get dirty if you even slightly slack off on cleaning it. Harold makes a suspicious face as he looks at me. What would you say to hiring a janitor to clean all the nooks and crannies, as well as a gardener the castle now needs, thanks to you? And on top of that, someone with the knowledge and magic that only witches know, all in one person. I'll take on all of those duties, and I'll share my knowledge as well. In exchange, I want you to let me stay in this castle as a human.
Oh?
The reason is simple. I still want to stay as a human. Plus, it'll be easier for me to clean while living as a human. That's all I ask. What do you say? I think it's a pretty good deal if I say so myself.
All right. I just so happen to have some extra time on my hands, so I'll play along with your little charade.
With a decisive sneer, Harold releases me. Looks like I talked my way out of that dilemma. Now I can investigate the cause of the plague. As I'm breathing a sigh of relief, Harold comes to a halt.
Oh, I almost forgot. What will you do if I break my promise and attempt to take your blood?
I'll use forbidden magic that no one but witches know to punish you.
Well. I'll be careful to avoid displeasing you at all costs.
After saying that, Harold slowly begins to walk. The place Harold leads me to is a salon. Once I hesitantly enter the room, I find a nervous-looking young man with blonde hair and a disgruntled boy with blue hair.
Rupert, that's the person we saw earlier.
What is that witch doing with Harold? I assumed you lured her in. Did you not?
The young man named Rupert turns his gaze to Harold.
Harold, if you're having a friend come over, couldn't you please tell it from the beginning? I very nearly killed that witch by smashing her under the chandelier. She did skillfully manage to dodge it, though.
So it was that boy who tried to kill me earlier. Who are those children?
They're relatives of mine. The blue-haired boy is Rupert, and the blonde one is Alfred.
If you're a friend of Harold's, I won't harm you again. But I won't welcome you here either. I'd appreciate you leaving as soon as you finished your business here.
After pointedly announcing that, Rupert sits in a nearby chair. I understand Rupert being wary of me as an outsider. But I'm also curious about his standoffish attitude towards Harold, too. Right after I briefly introduce myself, a man clothed like a butler brings water to the table.
This man is Raymond. He takes care of my personal needs. He's a dear friend of mine, so if you ever try any funny business on him, I'll kill you.
You sure have a vicious way of talking. I get the idea. After watching Harold take a sip from his glass, Alfred and Rupert continue.
Anyway, we're done with introductions and eating now, right? I'll be getting back to my room.
Wait, a growing child can't only have water. That's not right.
Huh?
Don't assume we're like humans. We don't normally eat food. We can live on fresh blood alone.
But you can eat, right?
Even if we can, it's not necessary. Can you stop looking at everything from a human perspective? It's been a long time since we were even all together like this in the first place. There's no time to spare on eating.
This is the first time we've talked to Harold in ages, too.
Despite living in the same place, they rarely even speak. That's so sad. The faces of the children in my village who've lost parents and siblings to the plague suddenly flash in my mind. Harold, I'll take on one more job. I'll be in charge of the nutritional management and education of the children. And just so you know, even if you say no, I'll do it anyway.
Suit yourself.
I go into the room prepared for me and lie down on the bed. It was a close call there for a minute, but I managed to get myself into the castle. I have to find out whether Harold and the other vampires are truly the source of the plague. Confirming my plans for tomorrow, I close my eyes. I have no clue how much time has passed. I wake up to the sound of rustling fabric and ragged breathing. I immediately try to get up, but before I can do so, someone straddles me and pins my wrists to the bed. Who are you? The moonlight streaming in from the window illuminates Harold's face, who's looking down at me.
You're incredibly defenseless for someone who knows they're in a vampire lair.
Harold?
Did you really think I would make a deal with a human? Ha! Now that's a riot.
Harold makes an icy grin and brings his lips towards my neck. What are you doing? Stop it!
You annoying little brat. Don't tell me what to do.
I hear the sound of my skin being punctured at the same time that I'm hit with a fierce pain.
It must hurt, doesn't it? But it'll be better soon. Because there's no pain that can't be outdone by pleasure. I'm going to give your body that pleasure myself.
No! All strength begins leaving my body. The fear and pain of having my blood sucked from me makes my consciousness start to fade. As if realizing I can't fight him off, Harold lets go of my wrists to put his hands on my clothes.
This is my first time being with a witch. Now, let's see what cries of pleasure I get to hear.
As Harold says that, his eyes are the red of blazing flames.